Welcome to Mark 1 Life. As you can hear, there's a clicking sound on my coil over. It's actually on the shock mounting, as you can see. We're gonna resolve it today in this video. Here we have our shock mounts. As you guys can see, it's actually original shock mounts made in Germany. Yeah, so these are the shock mounts I'm gonna be installing. They are new, bought them from Volkswagen for $280 each. On the inside of the shock mount, you won't be able to see nicely, but on the inside of the shock mounting there's actually a bearing there. It's bearings running there. Now what happens is, over time your shock mount starts to fail, and then that bearings fall out of place, and then your shock mount starts making that noise. So we're trying to resolve that problem here, but we're gonna see once we install these shock mounts if the same problem persists. So guys, in order for you to loosen your shock mounting, you're gonna need a 7mm spanner, Allen key, and a 22 spanner. It must be the spanner with this bend here. If you don't have a spanner, you're gonna struggle. Or if you have a better way of doing this, is to get a ratchet with a 7mm Allen key in the ratchet, and then a 22 socket with a hole in for this to fit through the socket. Okay, right, so but we don't have those tools right now, so I'm going to use what I have. I have a 7mm spanner, Allen key, and I have a 22 spanner. So I'm going to loosen this bolt here, then I'm going to loosen this two 13mm spanner bolts here, and there's one there behind there. Here you can use a ratchet. There the socket set doesn't want to go in, so you might have to use a spanner, and then you loosen this shock mount. But on my shock mount, as you guys can see, I've got extended spacers in. I don't know if it is clear enough for you to see that at the bottom there. This pipe is in the way. That at the bottom is my extended spacer that I have actually installed, and I showed you guys how to make these spacers. So when you install your shock mounting like this here, you have to then I've got a bolt at the bottom here. I just want to show you guys. Yes, there's it there. That bolt there, as well as that one there. Right around about there where my fingers are going there. Right, so so what I have to do is I have to actually put a socket, 13 socket at the bottom here, and a spanner on top in order to loosen this shock mount of mine. And then once it's loosened, I'll show you guys how to install it. So guys, I have removed my shock mounting. As you guys can see, it was sitting like this here. I've removed those two 13mm spanner bolts there, and then this is my spacer right here, and at the bottom of my spacer is I don't know if you guys can see this, but here's a plate on the bottom here. I'll show you guys how I install it once I am done. So here we have our two shock mountings. I have spray painted them black. The sun is not playing in my favor, but this is just masking tape that I put on that silver top part, and then that is how it looks. This is jet black. I sprayed it jet black. It's the same that I used on these rims right here that I was respraying. What I had to do when you install your shock with extended mountings or extended spacers, these bolts, standard bolts that comes with your shock mounting, is too small in length, so you have to get longer bolts here. in order for you to install extended mountings. But if you were just using this on your normal shock, you wouldn't have to actually heat these bolts out, or you could heat them out and just heat them back in again when you're done spray painting them. And then here I've actually hung my plate, my bottom plate up, and my spacer, I have hung it up. So what I'm gonna do is I had to hang it so I can spray it all around. So guys, as you can see, my shock mounting looks new. It is new, but it looks even better when you spray painted it. I also spray painted my spacer. It looks very nice. This is how I like my things. So I am gonna put that cap on there, but now this cap even looks like I don't know what, so I might have to clean this cap with Maguire just to bring back that black color shining. But in essence, guys, this is how you install your shock mounting. This is how you install your shock mounting. So this bolt here comes through at the bottom. Let me show you guys the bottom there. See, there's my plate sitting there. There's my plate, and my shock mounting is on the inside there. So I'm gonna have to keep this bolt right here. If you guys can see that bolt there, I'm gonna have to keep it with the 13 ratchet, as well as that side there with the 13 ratchet. It's a bit dark, but yeah, that bolt right there. Trying to get it, yeah, there. So yeah, so I'm just gonna tighten this up and then drop my car and see if that noises is still there. But this is how you install shock mounting with extended spacers. These spacers, I will put the link in the description below of how to make these spacers. I showed you guys in a video how to make your own extended spacers. So guys, just always remember to remove this from your old shock mounting, this little washer, I would say, yeah, spacer there, and then put it in your new. Otherwise, if you don't, that your coilover is still gonna shake, so you don't want that. So you want that to go in there, and then you put your washer in there, and then after your washer, then you put your bolt. So I've tightened those two nice and tight. So now I'm gonna do this 22mm spanner bolt here. Just tighten it to the end as much as I can. And then also, when you tighten this bolt, as you guys can see, I have actually used a piece of wood with a piece of steel, just to keep the wheel up in order for me to work. Yeah, otherwise your whole suspension goes down and then you can't fasten whatever you want to fasten there. So you can just do that, and then yeah, so I'm just gonna now remove this here and remove that there, right? And then I'm gonna put the car down, and when the car is down, I will be able to tighten this bolt as tight as possible. So guys, I found a problem. The problem was not my shock mounting. It was to do with my shock mounting, but as you can see on my old shock mounting here, there's some shearing here. It's actually very sharp if you feel it with your finger, but if you look very close, you can see how that's sticking out there. So what's happening is my spring is hooking fast here. So if I look at my spring, I'm gonna show you guys how my spring looks like, right? This spring is pretty worn out, especially here on the end. So as the spring tensions up, it presses against my shock mounting there, and it hooks onto the shock mounting. There's one place here, this is actually like a bump, a steel bump that has occurred over time. So over time you'll have to check your coilovers. Your coilover is usually round, but this one of mine is quite flat at the end here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my grinder and I'm actually gonna just make this smooth here, and then I'm gonna put my new coil or my new shock mounting in. Then that should resolve the problem here. So I'm gonna take my grinder, take a flap disc, make this smooth, all this area is smooth, and then I'm gonna put it back in and see if it does the same thing. If it doesn't, then the problem is resolved. I'll also do the other end where the coilover sits, but I'm guessing this end is fine where the coilover sits, because that's basically just where the coilover is sitting on. But my key area is the top part, because it has sheared over time, and now the sharpness here, and with my low riding, this spring is pressed quite hard, and with all that tension it is hooking onto this part right here. It's hooking onto this part right here, hence the eating away of the shock mounting here. So there's actually nothing wrong with the shock mounting, but the shearing here is a problem. So I have put in the new shock mounting thinking that it will resolve my problem, but then I found that it started doing the same thing, and if you look there nicely there, it started eating there. So I'm just going to touch that also with a grinder and just make sure my whole edges are nice and smooth. Yeah, and then once I done that, I'm going to reassemble and test. Hopefully then our problem will be resolved. I have actually smoothed it out with a grinder. I use the flap disc on a baby grinder, just something you don't want to fight with your spring here. You just want to kind of make it smooth. So you can use a grinding disc. Flap disc works for me nicely. And then on the end here where there's kind of a sharp point, I actually went a bit more with the flap disc. I don't know if you guys can see, just to get it a bit more smooth on that end there, so it doesn't hook anyway. And then I just touched a little bit here on this mounting here. It's a new mounting, just a little bit, just to make it nice and smooth. So I'm happy now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the installation, show you guys the results once I'm done. So guys, that is how I resolved my problem. So point number one, check your shock mountings on your coilover. Just make sure your shock mounting is not finished, because there are bearings on the inside. My shock mounting was not too bad. I could have just fixed my shock mounting, but I wanted to get new shock mountings anyway, ever since I installed the extended spacers. So yeah, and I'm very happy with how the extended spacers are sitting, and especially after I spray painted my mounting and my spacer, it looks very nice. But that is how you resolve that problem. So if ever your Golf is making a ticking sound, or a clicking sound, or a squeezing sound, you can actually squinching sound, I would say, you can hear how your spring is twisting on the inside of your shock. Then you must check your shock mounting. If it's not your shock mounting, check your coil over spring and just see if it's not weighed out around the edges. And then you just take a baby grinder with a flap disc and you polish it, and done and dusted, and your problem is resolved. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm quickly gonna put you guys on a time lapse, and then I'm gonna do the other side, and then we're good. Don't forget to subscribe to Mark One Life. If this was useful content, I know my cousin also has the same problem, same sound, and we were trying to see where the problem is now. I found out what the problem is, and I'm sure a lot of guys will also find this video useful, and they can also resolve this problem if they have such a problem with the coilover mountings, or I would say your shock mountings. Yeah, but it actually fastens your coilover on top. we are finally done. As you guys can hear, there's no longer that sound. You can see here on my my shock mounting, there's no sound. I am turning the wheel. The wheels are turning, as you can see, but there is absolutely no sound. So guys, the problem is resolved. So what you guys need to do is you just need to grind your spring a bit smooth. It could be it could either be your shock mounting, or it could be that the shock mounting is touching somewhere on your spring. And also, just as an extra precaution, you can do it your shock mounting on the top and the bottom, where your coilover adjustment is. You can do it there as well. Just grind it smooth there. And guys, there is the problem resolved. So hope this video was useful. What do you guys think of my my extended spacers and new mounting? It looks beautiful, guys. This looks awesome. So if I put my cap on like that there, that looks factory fitted, eh? I gotta say that this looks very nice. So guys, there you have it. Now you know how to install coilover extended spacers, and you know how to fix a problem if your shocks were making a certain sound, like a squinching sound. That is how you resolve the problem.